Okay, so here's the problem. We have 4 different lines in my black coordinate plane. So we're going to talk about this coordinate plane is xy, and then everything else we're going to talk about separately, okay? So the first thing I want to talk about is slope. This has a positive slope. So slope is the inclination between 2 points. So if I'm going up and I'm going to the right to get my slope. I'm going up and to the right. That's because up is positive, to the right is positive. Down is negative, left is negative. So if I go twice, so if I go down and to the left, that's positive, because 2 negatives equal positive. But if I go down and to the right, that's a negative and a positive, that's negative. If I go up and to the left, that's also negative. So if you look at the blue line, so this one now, let's look at any point. I am going up, but to the left. Up is positive, left is negative, which means that the slope is negative slope. Now the trickier ones are the green and the yellow. So on the green, let's look at rise over run. So I am not rising on the green. I'm not going anywhere up or down, which means that my y is the same. So it's going to end up being 0. This is a 0 slope. Why? Because in this case, let's say that this was a 12, okay? So you're going to end up with y2 and y1 both being 12. But your x's can be anywhere. So let's say that these are your x's. And one was, let's say, -10, and the other was, I don't know, 4. You still get 0 over -14, which is 0. So a horizontal line, all horizontal lines have slope of 0. Which means that this one right here has an undefined or no slope. Because you're going to move on the y but not on the x. So your denominator is always going to be 0. No matter where your x is, no matter where your vertical line is, it doesn't matter. Your x is the same because the x of this point is the same as the x on that point, that point, that point. All the x's along this entire line, all of that are the same x, this one. It's all of that. So this point, let's say that that was 4. So that point is 4, 0. That point is 4, 1, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5. So the x's are the same, which means that in the denominator I'm going to get 0, and I cannot divide by 0. So to recap, positive slope, raise your right hand, that's your slope. Negative slope, raise your left hand, that's negative. 0 slope, that's your horizontal line, and that is no slope. Now let's try to find the slope, and again, imagine that your units are 1 and 1. So I'm going to try to find the slope just from the graph of this line right here. So this point is 1, 1, and this point is 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. I could use the formula m equals, and I know I said that's not what I'm going to do, but I will explain shortly. So let's do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which m equals, y2 is 1, y1 is 3, x2 is 1, y1 is 4. So the slope is equal to -2 over -3, which is 2/3. And yes, you know it's positive. And the reason why you know, So I apologize. I had to go back because my graph had skipped and then my points are not going to make sense. So I'm going to substitute this again, and we said that this was -2 over -3, so that's 2/3. And I know it is positive because if I raise my right hand, that's the slope I'm making. So this is how you do it with the formula. But if I have a graph, I can also do it by just looking at the graph. So it's rise over run. So from one point to the next, so from this point to that point, I'm going to go up, and I go up 1, 2. So that's my rise, right? Because m is rise over run. So I went up from that point, to be able to go to the next one, I'm going to go up 2. So I'm going to write 2. But I also have to run 3. So up 2, and then 1, 2, 3. I'm going to run 3. See, so by looking at the graph, I can get the same answer. It's just that you're not always going to have the graph. So these are 2 options depending on what it is that you are given.